Okay, so kind of like Marissa said, my name's Kelsey Fish. To start, I came to I-35 last year. It was my fourth year teaching. I came from second grade in Southeast Iowa before that. When I moved to I-35, I started teaching fifth grade science and math. Well, from second grade, that's a big jump. And to start doing math and science in fifth grade was a whole new ballgame. So luckily I had the help from our Warren County and Madison County, or the ISU Extension Office. They decided to come in and kind of walk us through a little bit of some STEM stuff that we could be doing with our fifth graders. And luckily, she was great. Jenny helped me with so many things. And one of those things was she introduced me to Dash and Dot. And I had no idea where I was going with coding, especially with elementary kids. And who would have thought that elementary kids could learn how to code? So with that, we need to remember why computer science is so important. So basically, this information all comes from a training I did with Code.org this summer. I had the opportunity to join TeacherCon in Houston and go through all the training for both foundational elementary coding as well as 6th and 7th grade coding. So discovery. Computing, the occupations are the #1 source of all new wages in the U.S., and they make up 2/3 of the projected jobs in the STEM fields. They are the most demanding college degrees, but to make it more local, I'm going to let you read a couple of these. The big one that stands out to me is the fact that only 14% of the Iowa computer science graduates are female. And that kind of sets in a little bit, and you think, wow, what are we missing here? Something needs to change. That starts from the ground up. So talking about computer science in elementary, hitting on making sure not just focusing on getting those boys involved, but also the females. Here's a few more. Okay, so, I mean, statistically, Iowa's not looking so good when it comes to computer science. Also, the universities in Iowa not graduating a single new teacher prepared to teach computer science. I'm a 2013 grad from UNI, and I know for a fact I didn't take one single class talking about teaching technology or computer science. And that, for me, that hits home. So I'm going to take a look here, and this is only one way. I know Renee hit a lot of awesome ideas, but particularly one that I know about is Dash and Dot. And I'm going to go through some of this stuff, and then I'm going to show you, actually, we're going to walk through a lesson that I've done with both 2nd and 3rd grade.
World where computer literacy is as essential as reading, writing, and arithmetic. Introducing Dash and Dot. They're toy robots, but they're so much more than that. They're a learning and storytelling platform that makes computer programming accessible and fun. Meet Dash. Dash can be programmed to do an unlimited number of things, from basic movement, to object detection, to complex sequences of instructions. And this is Dot. Dot can detect when it is being moved, allowing children to invoke characters. These robots can detect each other, and accessories can be added to give them special abilities.
They teach the basics of computer science in one of the best ways possible. Problem solving through hands-on playtime. And our research shows that that is one of the best ways for children to learn.
Dash and Dot are designed to be programmed by children, using our touch interface with music, animation, and stories, as well as existing languages like Scratch and Blockly.
We try to get them to watch less TV, push them to learn new things, but it wasn't until these robots came out of the box and our kids just got so absorbed.
Programming applies to and is used by virtually every field: art, architecture, medicine, law. Learning to program is really learning problem solving, taking something big and seemingly incomprehensible, breaking it down and building up a solution. And this concept really applies to virtually anything in life.
Learning to program isn't only to become a computer programmer. We want to help shape our future. our future innovators, our future thinkers, our future leaders. And the future is today.
So there's a lot of those shorter videos. I added the link on there for the Wonder Workshop company. They just actually came out with other robots called Clever Robots. But these are the 5 different apps that work with Dash and Dot. I started the year off using Blockly, which is the one that uses the actual coding. There's Path, which you can actually just draw on it, but it's basically kind of like we talked with Spheros. It's like a really, really expensive car. So not only can I use these with my elementary kids, but my middle school kids actually really enjoy them too. So when they need a break from code.org stuff that we're doing, learning HTML, we get out the Blockly and start using that with them too. In between here too, I kind of forgot to mention, even though I am technically the STEM specialist, I still am teaching tech to grades 2nd through 7th grade. So I am seeing all those different grade levels, so 6th grade levels, trying to figure out the best way to use computer science in all of them. So I'm also doing Project Lead the Way as well. All right, so on 6 of the tables, I did not know there was going to be this many of you. There are you're going to find an iPad, a challenge card, and a Dash. So if you do not have one, if you would like to kind of move around a little bit, or you can just kind of watch, I'm also going to put it up on the screen too. I just wanted to show you kind of how a lesson goes with a Dash robot. And the biggest thing too is like talking about the management piece of it, because the first time I had these in my classroom, I figured out that if you don't go step by step through all of the problems, we're going to have some issues. There it is. Okay. So, if I were to teach this lesson with my 2nd and 3rd graders, I did do this lesson with both grades at the same time just because it is my first year, so it's their first year. They've never seen these robots before, so kind of doing the same curriculum for both grades to kind of catch us up a little bit. I would have already talked to the students about what an algorithm is, talking about sequencing and using the code, and really one of the lessons I did was not even with the hands-on computers and the iPads, but talking to them about how important it is to go step by step through all the code, otherwise they are really not going to tell the robot what to do. They might think in their head, oh, turn right, but if they don't put the code down, it's not going to go. So that was a big conversation, and we actually didn't, and this was with my 6th graders, they had a video when we were using Scratch of someone dancing. So I had someone being the bosser and another one was being told what to do. Well, the bosser was telling them explicitly, turn right or move your arm up. Well, if they didn't say move your arm to a 90-degree angle, they just stuck their arm out. So so they basically were programming their peers is what they were technically doing. So, and they loved that, and they realized how really hard it is to be the computer. So on your iPad, if you could go ahead and open that for me. I'm praying this works. You're going to go ahead and open it up, and you will see down on the bottom there is a Dash and Dot. Hopefully they show up. And you'll see all 5 of the apps. Okay, so the Xylo, there is a xylophone that you can get to go with them, and I brought the xylophone. If you want to play with those later, you can mess around with them a little bit. The one that I would like you to open is Blockly. And I will say, the kids, especially 2nd graders, when I say Blockly, they all giggle and say broccoli. They think I'm saying broccoli. They think it's hilarious. So on mine, you can see we were working on light sequencing. So my kids forgot to get rid of it. So if you have any code on yours, you can just drag it, and then a garbage trash can will show up. Just throw it in there. Okay, so then I would say, okay, kids, remember the last time we talked about this? How did we How did we get dash to show up on our Blockly? They remind me that up in the top right corner, that orange button, if you hit there, which I won't find any, but this is where it searches for the robots. Whoops, none show up. So then I say, okay, everyone look at the bottom of your dash, and I say, okay, remember how I numbered them? This one is number 1. So when you turn it on, it makes funny noises. They're like Furbies. They don't stop talking. So then, once you turn it on, go ahead and turn it on. And you might have to refresh it a couple times because since we're connecting all 6, the Bluetooth kind of gets a little messed up. But you can go ahead and click on your dash. If it doesn't show...
Like someone connected to the wrong one.
Sound just like a 3rd grader. Okay, so you're going to... So you're going to want to, if it doesn't show up, you're going to want to shut it off and turn it back on and refresh it, and it should show up that second time. So, are we all connected? Sorry. This is the worst part. I was going to say, I see the lights. We're good now. So, I'm going to walk you through the code, but since mine, I don't have a dash to show you, you will kind of be working on your own. So, the first thing I would do is remind the kids, okay, we talked about a sequence. What is a sequence? Okay, remember you're using sequencing in order to program your code. So it's anything that you're doing in order. Especially with younger kids, it's kind of hard to throw that word at them. But we talk about, okay, in the morning when you're getting ready for school, you have a sequence that you are doing. First, you get out of bed, you brush your teeth, you get dressed, you get on the bus. Okay, so talking about that and reminding them what's another thing that you do as a sequence. Okay, think about a recipe when you are making a cake with mom. How do you have to make sure that you get the ingredients in order for it to work? So once we go through that and a little bit of review, then we'll start working on a new project. So we are going to I'm going to show you how to create a new project. So up in the top left corner, you're going to see it's going to show 3 lines. I'll show you a couple things first. If you click those 3 lines, it's going to show you different puzzles, projects, and create new. So before I even started doing the challenge cards with the kids, I had them click and do into puzzles. So if you click puzzles, which mine's not going to work because I don't have a dash here, but we'll say that I did. The music starts going, and it's going to take you through driving school. So it takes you step by step through it. I'll get out of there because it's loud. So if you want to take just a couple minutes and play with the driving school, I don't know kind of where the kids were on that, but pass around the iPad a little bit and see the different games. They do move. Yeah, puzzles.
I think they made it into our breakout EDU, and he was part of the process to solve. We did a breakout EDU. He was part of
Oh, yeah.
it. was in a class at Iowa
Okay.
State. And do they still come with a map, like with 4 colors on it? At that time, this is a couple of years ago.
No, not that
Yeah,
I've seen.
yeah.
It comes with a curriculum guide, and so I have all those and like 72 challenge cards, and it's
Plenty.
It's plenty. So, well, the one that I'm going to show you is actually it's a level A, but I was looking at it and I was like, if I was never seen these before, there's no way I could do something that's higher than a level A. So, all right, now, I would like you to go back to your code out of the puzzle. So, to speed up time a little bit, I have given you a challenge card. On that challenge card, the very front, you are going to see the title of it, which is Dance-Dance. And you'll see the leveling and the code that it's working on. So we're working on, I believe it's sequencing, is what it says. So sequencing level A. Now, if I were to look at my curriculum map, which comes when you get the classroom set, which is wonderful. I advise everybody to get this if you're looking into Dash because it helps a lot. But it's a guide to curriculum. So if I look here and I see, okay, I want to work on level A. Well, there's a scoping sequence in there that tells you what grade level you can start this with. Technically, it says level A is for kindergarten. But if I was saying to these guys over here, there's no way that I could sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm going to show up and try a 5th grade one for the first time. No, because it does not make any sense. So I decided to just start with the basics because it is still a lot to learn for your first time. So go ahead and turn your card over, on the back, sorry. So you can see, you're going to go step by step through it. I would like you to go ahead and try this. Squeeze around you. Oh yeah. So
If it doesn't work, you just hit the stop button, and then you can basically fix your page from there.
okay. So if you notice in the code, on the left side, it's kind of color coded. So like for the looping and the repeats, it is always yellow. And so if on the challenge card it's a yellow piece, then you're going to look at your left side for the yellow. So for younger kids that can't exactly read yet, that's very helpful. All right, so whoever hasn't had a turn, just go ahead. I'll let you kind of mess with it a little bit. If you go into projects, it'll actually write a code for you. Okay, if you could clear your code for me quick. Try listening to that with all 6 going at the same time. Go ahead and clear your code for me. So your screen should look like mine. I want you to go back to that 3 lines where that puzzle was. Go ahead and click Create New. They name it really funky names. And you can change them, but they just show up like kiwi and whale and whatever else. So these are all different projects that you can tell your kids to start with. So one that I did was Wake Up Dot. So Dash is the more intricate one that is mobile. Dot comes on a little stand. Basically, they just laugh because it's Dash's head without the body. And he talks. He does all the same things as Dash. Okay, so he can do all the same things except minus being mobile. They roll him around, so if it says when Dot rolls, this and this will happen, or whatever you want. But so we did it, and I made him they wake him up. So you know how their eyes blink, and you can change the light circles and all of that. But let's go ahead. I want you to do, let's go ahead and do Dash, or Dance with Dash. So on the 4th line, that's the one I want. So it'll start there. Go ahead and click Create. So as you can see, they created all of the code. So then so there's 2 different whens here. So when you click Start, this will happen. But then if you clap, that'll happen. And then I'll have the kids start there, and then I'll say, okay, what would happen if you tried this? Or I'll tell them, okay, now I want his lights to turn into a disco. Show me how to do that, okay? So go ahead, play with that a little bit, mess around with the lights, add more code to it, delete whatever you want. I know. It's a Furby. They like all start talking. Creepy. Gotta make sure they're turned off. Missing anything? Yep. So you're gonna click Create New. Yep. And then go down. Dance is right there. Yep. So when I do this with the students, I take them into the classroom, and I try to put them into groups of 3. And in the curriculum, it kind of talks about this too, but I made up a set of rules. So one person is the driver. The driver is the one that is in charge of Dash. So then I also have, no, the driver's in charge of the iPad, sorry. The robot wrangler is in charge of Dash, so when he's driving away and you have to go get him, it gives him something to do. And then there's also a code companion. The code companion, when we're doing a challenge, is in charge of holding the card, going through the steps, and making sure the driver, the one with the iPad, is doing the code correctly. I've done it with 2. 2 works. 4 does not work. Don't try 4. Too many. But 2 to 3 kids per Dash works well. And typically, the classes aren't bigger than needing another one. We have them, luckily. We had some grant money, so we were able to get some for our librarian, too. So if I need a couple more, I'll grab them. But they also come with dots. So if I can find a challenge that has dot and then a challenge for Dash, that way we can make sure all kids are doing something and we can rotate. There are challenges that have both Dash and dot in them with obstacles and doing mazes. Figured in this room is probably not the best idea. But I also brought the challenge cards packs. I brought 2 of them. I got 6 when I did this. And you can see all the different levels. They're colored. If you want to try a different challenge, you can. I also have the ball launcher. So if you want to get that out and try it. And then There are also Lego connectors. So you build and they just connect right on, and you can build like bulldozers or a helmet, like whatever you want to do with it. I've seen on Facebook there was someone that took a Dash robot and made him into a horse, and they had Woody from Toy Story riding him around the room. So, I mean, people have a lot of fun with it, and the kids enjoy it. So you can kind of let the kids start to take control. The xylophone's up here too, if you want to take a look at that. That's really fun. The kids love that. So, yeah. I know it's short, but I want you guys to be able to play with it. So go ahead and keep playing. I have the challenge cards if you want to play with those. I'll give you a couple minutes here, and we'll come back together for it.